If Priscilla discovered I was alive, would she come and see me? Would we still want to fuck? Or would we merely have to talk about it? Is there finally and really anything to life other than food, shit, and sex?
Hello and welcome to Food to Watch Films by episode 15.
15.
Yes, another episode. So welcome. And if you've not listened to this podcast before, my name's Johnny.
And my name's Adam.
And we're going to be taking you through this journey into the unexplored territory of food and films being combined together in unison of beautifulness.
A journey into the unknown.
Yes, the sensual, the sexual, the
sensational,
all of those things.
Yeah.
I mean, essentially, we talk about films we've watched and recommend foods that we think would help to heighten and enhance your sensory experience of watching that film. You with us?
Yeah.
Good.
Then let's continue.
So, this episode, before we set it up, I want to introduce this nicely for our listeners. So I've been working on a little something all week, Adam. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, go on.
You're going to love this.
I'm always a little bit worried when you plan something like this, because it usually ends up with like hot dog sausages rammed in the mouth or something like that.
I've been working on it. So you ready?
Right, go on.
Marty, you know what we got here? Motherfucking Charlie Bronson.
What, am I supposed to guess what
okay. You'll grab yourself an egg roll. We got everything from a little-eyed Joe to a damned if I know. What is happening right now? Do you not get it? Do you not get the link?
It sounds like you're doing some sort of Stallone impression.
Well, that's the thought. Gary Oldman.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Oldman? That's what you said? We were doing old man films?
This is from True Romance.
Yeah.
Drexel, yeah.
I'm going to Drexel, motherfucker. Sorry, it was a terrible impression.
It was.
I was so much better this morning when I was in the bathroom, looking at myself and.
You were far too close to Stallone.
Foil in my teeth and all sorts. And,
hey, Paulie, get some egg rolls over here.
No, I didn't pull that off. But you said old man films.
Old man films. Well, what I actually meant was old age. Not Gary Oldman. Not the film biography of Gary Oldman. Actually, films about aging and the aging process and getting older.
Oh, fucking hell, man!
This is why we need to get communication better. It's. I appreciate the effort and the impression. It's. I'm sure there was people.
It wasn't
listening.
even that good an impression.
It was pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. You've done better.
I must be losing it.
Can I? How can I cheer you up, Johnny?
Should we move on to the top 5?
That cheers you up. I'll give you a top 5.
Okay. It's Adam's top 5.
Oh.
Cause this is Adam's top 10. 5.
Right, so just to clarify to everybody who's listening, the theme of this episode is old age.
Yes.
So we're going to be exploring movies which explore the aging process, all the drama and comedy that comes with getting older and facing mortality.
Yep.
Wrinkles,
droopage.
Yeah, exactly. Sagging in various regions, smells,
urinating,
weakened bladder, incontinence. All those delights make from some really interesting movies. And there is a really good mixture coming into the top 5. I was surprised with how I've got loads of honourable mentions here.
All right.
But it often serves as quite a good vehicle for both comedy and drama,
yeah.
The aging process. And as I say, really kind of people facing what eventually comes to us all, which is old age and death.
Yes, the inevitable.
The end. This is the end. Honourable mention.
Yep.
We've got a few little guilty pleasures in here as well. Cocoon, I thought I'd throw in there.
Oh yeah,
Steve Guttenberg's greatest film next to Police Academy 1 through whatever films he was in, through 38, however many films there were.
And Single Sander Seeks Mrs. Claus.
Classic Gutenberg.
So Cocoon.
Grumpy Old Men, another guilty pleasure there. That's Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau.
Right.
Sort of rekindling the magic that they had with The Odd Couple, but into older age. Gran Torino. Another one there.
Brilliant film.
Not quite made it into top
brilliant.
5 for me.
Love that film.
I had a bit of a debate over that.
Get off my damn porch.
Yeah, it's badass Clint.
Yes. Brilliant film.
Good film with Robert Duvall. Get Low. Worth a watch
not seen
as
it.
well. It's a gentleman who decides to, a bit of a cranky gentleman who decides to plan his own funeral whilst he's still alive, and kind of see what the townsfolk think of him.
Yep.
And one that I've watched fairly recently, certainly worth a watch. It's a bit of an indie flick, which is Robot and Frank.
Oh, right.
Set in the not too distant future about an old man, former bank robber, jewelry thief, and his robot carer.
Oh, right.
Which is quite an interesting concept and definitely worth a watch.
That does sound quite intriguing.
Yeah, so a few honourable, and actually another honourable mention.
Oh, bloody hell!
One more, because it is relevant, because we are going to be reviewing it later on, which is Logan.
Oh, okay,
and we'll talk about
fair
that.
enough. Yeah, we've got a review of Logan coming up. There you go.
And it's going to be full of spoilers as well. So yeah, spoiler alert in advance. Okay, so top 5.
Number 5,
I've gone for the animated tearjerker that is Up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Exactly. I mean, I've mentioned it on more than one episode of the podcast, but I can't get through the first opening sequence without just breaking down like a little girly girl. But you know, I'm secure enough in my own masculinity to admit that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
I know how attached you are to your cartoons, and
his wife dies. Spoiler alert: his wife dies. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's great.
Oh, there's a bit of a general theme here because the next one, his wife also dies. I've gone for the British flick, Harry Brown.
Oh yes.
You see,
yeah.
I had a debate whether to go for Harry Brown or Gran Torino, and I went for the one with the British tone.
Yeah, no, and Harry Brown is good. It's brutal.
Michael Caine's awesome in it.
Yeah,
It's still.
yeah.
I'm going to put it out there. It's one of the best action films within the last 10 years, I'd say.
Harry Brown. No, sorry. I'm not even going to try that.
No, what the hell was that? Michael Caine.
Yeah, let's just move on.
Old Michael. We're doing terrible with the impressions.
Is
We did
clearly
that-
not our
We
forte,
both
this
did
is.
Michael Caine last episode, and we nailed it.
Yeah. And if you want to check out our Michael Caine impressions, please listen to episode 14.
I'm not going to. No, I can't do it. Yeah, it's
Shut
gone.
up.
It's gone. Okay, number 3.
Number 3. Hang on, did we? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Harry Brown number 4.
Oh, I didn't do number 4. Number 3.
Number 3. No, this is going so well.
Seriously going senile.
This
here.
episode, yeah, exactly.
We're
The
losing
dementia
it, man.
kicking
We're
in.
losing our touch. Age.
Number 3, I think you're going to appreciate this one, Johnny.
Mm-hmm.
Bubba Hotep.
Yes.
Love that film.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Everything about it is great.
I think we need to have an episode where we do something Bubba Hotep related.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell as an aging Elvis or Elvis impersonator, fighting off an evil mummy spirit thing. Yeah, still a little bit hazy on the concept for the amount of times I've watched it, but yeah, worth a watch. Very entertaining. Number 2.
Number 2.
This nearly made it into number 1 spot, but I've gone for number 2 ultimately, and I've gone for Straight Story.
Oh yes.
Love that film.
Wow,
David
lovely
Lynch.
film.
And as the title suggests, probably one of his most, I suppose, kind of grounded.
Oh yeah. They're very, very different from anything else he's really made. It's not surreal. It's not bizarre.
No, it's just a straight story.
It is a straight story,
Yeah.
but it's brilliant. And you've got some familiar faces from some of his other work. You've got Everett McGill and Harry Dean Stanton as well, who's been in one or two of his things previous. But anyway,
Yeah, some great performances in there and some very seasoned actors. But there's a sort of a common theme that does appear to pop up within these type of films that are exploring old age, which is the whole kind of road trip aspect.
Yeah.
I suppose, sort of
Making that last trip.
Yeah.
before,
Life in itself is a bit of a journey and a road trip, and so it serves as a good metaphor. There's a few which have similar themes, but yeah, great film. If you haven't seen it, The Straight Story, David Lynch. Go out and watch it.
Watch it.
That takes us to number 1.
Number one.
Number one, a fairly recent film. It's 2003's Nebraska.
Ah, yeah. Yeah.
So Bruce Dern. Great
Bruce
performance by Bruce Dern. Yeah, it's a great film. Again, if you haven't seen it, please, I wholeheartedly encourage you to do so, because again, it's a bit of an emotional ride as well as again many of these films are. It's certainly worth a look. So Nebraska is number one.
And if you like the straight story, you'll like Nebraska as well. It's kind of got a similar-ish sort of vibe, hasn't it? Black and white, and not just because it's black and white, but again, it's
the pace of it.
Wonderful, emotional.
No, I think there's the sort of pace and the tone of it is very similar to the straight story. I was definitely reminded by it. But check it out. Go watch it.
Go watch it. And so if you've got your own top 5 films about aging, the aging process, then tweet. Feel free to tweet us at FTWFB Podcast. Find us on Facebook. Go to our foodtowatchfilmsby.com webpage where we've got a contact us link. Send us through there.
And Telegram. Fax. If you want to fax us.
Yeah, if you're more
good.
of a senior member of society who's not so down with social
Morse
media.
code, we can learn that for you.
Yes, we are.
We're very contactable.
Yeah, the dudes abide. Oh God, I can't believe I just said that. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so we're now going to talk a little bit about a film that we both recently saw together.
Yeah.
Yes,
the two of us.
Yes, we were.
Actually, 3 of us, weren't there? There was a
third party.
There was a third party.
Yes. We went to see it the other night at the cinema.
Of all places.
So yes, the film Logan. Now, Adam, seeing as you're, the big comic book fan, the big Wolverine fan, I'll let you give a bit of a lowdown on, what it's about, shall I?
Yeah, well, it's essentially it's set in the not too distant future. I think the year they gave was 2029.
Ooh.
With the X-Men movies, it's all a bit confusing with the different timelines, but it takes it from really sort of leading off from Days of Future Past.
Means nothing to me.
Means nothing to you, but for those who are comic book fans and fans of the X-Men movie franchise, they'll be pretty familiar with it. It essentially follows Logan, who's a little bit older, a little bit weary. His healing
broken
powers aren't quite as good as when the Wolverine was in his prime.
Oh yeah, he's succumbing to
old
aging,
age,
like we've been talking about so far.
Exactly. And we've also got Professor X, played by Patrick Stewart, again reprising his role there. In his 90s now, suffering a little bit from the early signs of dementia, which when you've got the superhuman psychic abilities that Charles Xavier has, that can cause a few issues as well. And essentially in this not too distant future, mutants have all been pretty much eradicated. There's been, controversially termed as a cure for the mutant gene. So there's not too many left, and old Logan and Professor X are kind of in hiding a little bit. But that all gets turned upside down when a young mutant arrives on the scene, played by is it Daphne Keane?
Why, yes, it is.
Yes, Daphne Keane. Young Daphne Keane, we soon finds has very similar powers to that of Wolverine, and then things start to develop from there.
Yeah. But I mean, we haven't talked about it yet. We came out of the cinema and didn't say a word at all to each other. We had your mate in between us going, "Oh, I thought it was great that." What did you guys think? And we were just like, we can't say anything right now.
Well, yeah, we do have a habit of when we do go to the cinema together of a film that we're reviewing, we refuse to talk about it on the day because it's quite nice to hear our own reactions. And I'd be quite interested because obviously I'm coming from it as a bit of a comic book fan, kind of familiar with some the source material that it's loosely taken from with Old Man Logan. So I'm coming in with my kind of fanboy head on. So yeah, what were your thoughts, Johnny? I'm intrigued.
Well, coming from my angle, I not being a fanboy and I've never really got into the Marvel universe. Not much. I appreciate a bit of comic books here and there, but yeah, I've never really got into it. And the X-Men films, I think I've only seen bits and pieces of them. I watch the odd superhero film now and then. I mean, as a kid, I loved obviously like the Superman films, etc., Batman, etc. But I've never really got into it, and the whole kind of Marvel universe world and all these different characters. Just I appreciate it. I've got some friends who they get hard on every time, and there's a trailer for the next Aquaman film.
Guilty.
Yeah, and for me it's like, oh, okay. And I do find generally most of the time when I do watch a comic book film, but they're a bit samey usually. They've got someone with superpowers, action, something kicks off, yay, okay. But then with this, I was generally surprised actually, and I think it's because I gather this is a bit different from a typical superhero film, and I think there was some things I liked about it, some bits, but I thought it was quite good the fact it was a broken superhero. Like usually in a super film, like in the classic Superman films, there'd be a bit where like in I can't remember, is it Superman 2 or maybe in the first one where he loses his powers and he's weakened and what have you. But then he comes back. But throughout this whole film, obviously Hugh Jackman as Logan was broken on the ropes basically. Struggling with each battle he was having, and really struggling with everything basically, and just wanting to essentially just give up, wasn't he? But he knew he had to keep going for. Yeah,
it brings it back down to earth to an extent when he has some vulnerability and not just this unstoppable, indestructible force. But it's a very different tone to the previous Wolverine and X-Men movies. I mean, not least because it was an R rating, so there's some very adult material. It really did. I
graphic,
think,
violence,
straight, right off the bat. Yeah, we've got decapitations. We've got those.
It's the way it starts. Actually, I enjoyed that. It was a bit like watching a good samurai film. It was,
something, yeah. Well, there's a lot of links with the Wolverine character and samurai culture as well. But we're straight into decapitations. The F-bomb gets dropped right off the go. I mean, immediately. I think there was almost a conscious effort to an extent to really establish, look, this is not the type of Wolverine movie that you've been used to. Yeah. This is going to be more adult. It's come off the back of Deadpool's success, so the studios are probably more willing to think, actually, maybe we should adopt this tone for certain characters. And I think, just a really good swan song for what's been a really sort of established and celebrated character. Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, Hugh Jackman is now synonymous with that character for good reason as well. I thought it was great in this film.
Yeah, and and I love Patrick Stewart, it was interesting seeing, like, again, I've seen bits of X-Men, I've seen him as Professor X or what have you, but seeing him as this kind of senile, very vulnerable, aged, being, if you know what I mean. It was interesting.
I thought he stole the show for all the scenes. I mean, it was heartbreaking. To see him in that that kind of from time to time confused state, and again very frail. But there was some of the funniest laugh out loud moments came from Patrick Stewart. I don't know why. Just Patrick Stewart swearing makes me smile. I don't know why. But it was. Completely different tone to what we've been used to. Patrick Stewart's fantastic.
And I just thought generally it was quite an interesting take to see, because you always see superheroes at their prime or what have you, or going through something where they temporarily, take a knock in confidence, or they lose a power and then they come back again. But this was dealing with that topic of what happens to superheroes when they're old and no longer able to maintain that what they've been given, where they are succumbing to age, as we all do. Going back to our message at the start of this episode,
it's a journey that we're all on.
It is.
And it makes them a little bit more relatable to an extent. I think the important thing with this film as well, and I'm glad you liked it, Johnny, because I was worried, because in my mind,
I really enjoyed it up until a point. I think it was after Patrick Stewart well, I'm not going to say anything, but later on in the film, I did find my attention did start to dip a bit. I was pretty tired though. I'd had a very long day. We were in a darkened cinema. I'd had a couple of beers.
You are getting older. You get sleepy very easily.
My attention span is getting shorter and shorter. So yeah, there was a bit where I think I wasn't quite as engrossed in it. I don't know if it was something to do with what was happening, or I don't know. I came to the end of it. I was like, yeah, I enjoyed that. I was really into it at the very start. But anyway, but overall, I thought it was good.
I think where this film did succeed was that it's very similar to how Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy succeeded, is that it's not just a good superhero movie. No, it's a good movie that features superheroes. You know, you could really take the premise of that film and put a character in who didn't necessarily have these super abilities. It could be a samurai, for example. Yeah. It could be a cowboy. You know, there's a lot of similar beats of kind of the Western and samurai format within this. And, you know, it's a good movie that has a superhero in, and that's the thing that I think that kind of, you know, it does appeal to a much wider adult audience. You don't necessarily have to be, you know, a superhero fan to really appreciate it. Yeah. I do agree though with what you're saying. I think the whole thing of you having a bit of an attention span isn't just old age. I think there were kind of a few pacing issues with it a bit. I think there were some areas where it became a little bit drawn out. Yeah. I mean, essentially, it's again at the top end of the program. I mentioned that a lot of the movies that do deal with the topic of old age can often use the sort of road trip format of storytelling as a vehicle and as a metaphor for that. And again, this is a case here. It is essentially it's a road trip movie, and again to pull back on the aspects of it being sort of a western, you know, kind of like The Searchers or True Grit, or even, you know, in the film we do actually see Charles Xavier watching a clip from Shane. Yeah, that's right. And that quote from the film's used later on as well. But yeah, no, I think a good movie, a well structured movie, not without some flaws, but all in all, I really liked it.
And of course, Eric LaSalle making an appearance. You might, you know, as
Daryl
from Coming to America, playing Will Munson.
Just let it glow.
I was a bit like, so glow. I did do that thing where as soon as he came out, I just turned to you, didn't I? And I was like, oh no way, it's Daryl.
You know, I think that's the first time. I'm sure he's doing.
He's been in a few. He's been in quite a few other things, but I hadn't seen him for a while, and I was just excited. I was like, no way, it's Daryl. Exactly. I always just associate him with Soul Glow.
It was a bit difficult not to forget because it's such an iconic role. No, it was good to see Daryl from Coming to America in there. What did you think about? I suppose the villains of the piece.
I thought they were okay. Like, I thought because like I said, I watched Narcos. I thought Boyd Holbrook was good in there. He did well in that lead role. In this, he seemed very different, quite masculine. You know,
that southern drawl, didn't he?
I thought he was okay. And then Richard E. Grant.
I think just underdeveloped Richard E. Grant's character.
It was a bit of a wishy-washy character, to be honest. It was a bit. I mean, I know his role wasn't to be necessarily the bad guy because he was the scientist who'd been involved and wanted to have this kind of paternal relationship, shall we say, to his subjects. But his character was just a bit, I don't know, a bit naff.
Yeah, but he was sadistic. We did get it was a very sadistic character. I mean, he was using, you know, children, experimenting on children, and you know, we find out that he actually was responsible for eradicating, you know, the mutant population. But we find out a lot about his involvement via the means of a mobile phone video. How did she edit that together?
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, wow, how has she managed to edit this all together and also edit in like a final message into it? seamlessly because it was very well edited.
Exactly. We did have, Logan Wolverine finds out about the whole experimenting on Laura and developing these children for as weapons via the means of a video on a mobile phone, which is supposed to be literally just like, what she's managed to, a woman who's worked as a nurse at the institute, and she was trying to sort of, guerrilla style take snippets of information.
She made like a documentary, Louis Theroux style feature.
Yeah, short of having an entire camera crew or GoPro strapped to her all the time, she should not been able to get some of that footage.
Yeah, considering she'd been on the run that whole time and clearly trying to hide from bad guys. Where did she get the time to edit? Anyway, I don't know.
Exactly. But it did serve as a means of being able to kind of say, oh, this is how we got to this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think we see Richard E. Grant pop up in that, and we kind of understand his role there. But outside of that, to my mind, he should have been really enhanced a bit more as a villain.
There should have been something more. Like he should have been slightly stronger. I think a bit. I think maybe someone else needed to play him. To be honest, I think he needed to be a bit more.
As much as I love Richard E. Grant, I kind of agree with you. I don't know if it was the right casting.
He needed to be slightly more poisonous, didn't he?
Yeah.
Not quite so wet.
Yeah. And when he gets taken out at the end, it's just really blink and you miss it sort of thing.
Yeah.
But all in all, I really enjoyed it. I think there's something there for fans of the comic books. There's enough little Easter eggs in there to satisfy that audience.
Yep.
And people who might not be too familiar.
Yeah.
It's not a date night movie. But it is, really enjoyable. And if you've got a good 3 hours to spare,
It was quite long work. Yeah. No, as I said, I'm not big into these sorts of films, but I did really enjoy it. It felt like it was something different. So,
I think as well, it's the end to the Wolverine character, and it's also again with the metaphor of old age, going on a journey and coming to an end.
Yeah,
that film served as a good means of not just Wolverine as a character, but also that franchise kind of ending now and coming to its natural conclusion. Apparently, there is an end scene credit as well, which kind of picks things up. But we walked out the cinema before that. We didn't realise there was one other.
Well.
I've just
boohoo.
Never mind.
But yeah.
So. Yeah. Food.
Should we get onto the food recommendations? So, would you like to indulge us first?
I really, for my food suggestion, I was again just thinking about that kind of journey aspect of the film.
Yeah.
And caught up in, Wolverine as a character throughout this. He knows is at the end, really, and he knows kind of going on the journey that he goes on that it's a one-way trip. There's only one way to his mind that it's going to end, and it's facing his mortality, and he's facing his ultimate, spoiler alert, death.
Yes.
So that got me thinking, not to be too morbid, I'd keep this as upbeat as possible. But that kind of got me thinking about what sort of food I'd have, if I had, a last meal. The end's coming.
Okay, yeah.
So what would I have as my last supper? And then I went down.
Tell me.
Well, I went down the rabbit hole on via Google a little bit, and I started getting onto sort of meals that requested when people were on death row.
Wow, okay.
And then going into some real sort of bizarre ones. And I feel like if I'm going to have a last meal, I know it's the end, I want that meal to last as long as possible. So I thought I'd just read out a few of the bizarre choices on here as well. I mean, there's a real mixture on here, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we've got a gentleman called Robert Alton Harris. Horrible person, murder, kidnapping, burglary, robbery. However, good tasting food.
Fella.
Good tasting food. I mean, it is junk food, but to be fair, he's going to, the end will come in.
Well, yeah.
So he ordered 21 pieces of KFC chicken.
Whoa.
2 Tombstone pizzas,
Whoa.
jelly beans, ice creams, 6 Pepsis, and a pack of cigarettes.
Bloody hell.
Because you do want to draw it out.
Yeah, was he trying to kill himself with that last meal?
Well, this is what I'm thinking. I think
way to die, maybe.
I'm thinking, like if I know that's coming, I might just go all like kind of Elvis on this.
Out,
just die on the toilet with a cheeseburger in my hand. Who else did we have? We had some more bizarre ones. We had a guy called Victor
Meldrew.
I don't know if it's pronounced Ferger or Fergoir, or but he was again horrible human being, done for murder. And he requested very very eerily. He requested just a single olive with the pip still in it. And I've seen a picture of this, and there's something just really kind of just creepy about it. Just this white plate and a single bloody orange, like sort of bloody coloured orange.
Olive.
Yeah, you can imagine him ordering it. And just we had a guy who ordered room temperature SpaghettiOs, but another guy a cup of tea and 6 cookies, but
that sounds quite nice actually. I could do with a cup of tea now.
Well, one of my favourite ones though was a guy called Ronnie Lee Gardner.
Okay.
Again, robbery, burglary, murder, capital murder, horrible person.
Yep.
However, you don't want to admire these type of people, but I kind of get where he's coming from for this, because he had the same sort of mindset. He wanted a meal that would last as long as possible.
Yeah.
So he ordered lobster, steak, pie. I think he had pecan pie with it.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted it whilst watching the longest film that he could think of at the time, which was the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Right.
So he got a Blu-ray of the Lord of the Rings trilogy to eat as well. So you kind of have to sort of admire his inventiveness in that, although, as I say, an horrendous human being. So yeah, I think I'd probably go for just an entire smorgasbord of those treats, make them last as long as possible until I eventually have a cardiac arrest in the toilet.
Yeah, succumb to the cholesterol.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's my food suggestion.
Well, that's made me feel a bit. I had a very large meal yesterday. I had a lot of food yesterday, and I've been suffering today. So yeah, hearing all that's just it's starting to repeat on me a little bit. But anyway, I'm sure you wanted to know that, didn't you, listeners? So
yeah, we've both been saying that we've overindulged this weekend.
Yes.
And I think as old age is kicking into both of us a little bit. The old digestive metabolism starts to slow down.
Can't break things down like I used to.
I'm currently wearing a Wolverine t-shirt, and his face is looking a little bit too stretched.
You have got quite a podge there, but
it's a relaxed six-pack. It's just relaxed muscle.
Yeah, whatever. But anyway, okay. So yeah, for my recommendation, and what I've tried to achieve with this is. I've done this before a little bit. I wanted to create a bit of an experience for people to get into, and there was a few elements of the film that I've kind of combined. One being the slashing claws of Wolverine and Charles Xavier's. During the film, he has quite a number of seizures. And when that happens, it creates this sort of paralysis of people around him. So I was thinking of creating a similar experience for you, whereby you could, get some meat. And a friend of mine at work has got some of these. You can get these like plastic kind of claw things that are a bit Wolverine, so you can pull meat.
Oh, I've seen them for like pulled pork and things like that. Yeah. That's quite cool.
Yeah, so you slash up the meat and then get someone to blast you with sound. So intensely that it's a bit, in fact, actually, have you ever encountered the brown noise, Al?
I could say the brown nose.
the brown noise.
The brown noise. No.
Well, apparently this I have encountered it before. It's a noise that's played at such a low frequency that it has a certain effect on you.
I think I can guess what that is by the.
So I was actually going to test this out on you.
Okay.
Whilst
I'm
eating, I've got a packet of Texas Joe's beef jerky, which is kind of.
I love a bit of beef jerky.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking about pulled meat, but
Did you pick these up when we were in the shop earlier? Because I was eyeing them up, funnily enough. So
what I was going to do was I was going to get you to eat a little bit of this whilst listening to the brown noise and just see what happens.
Which is my favourite game so far.
Yeah, so it was. I want to see if this kind of gives you that sense. So let me just find the brown noise, and this is available on YouTube if anyone ever wants to have a listen.
Texas Joe's jerky, as seen on Dragon's Den. There's a free plug for you there, Texas Joe.
Oh, let's look. There's so many different versions. There's a super deep brown noise. Shall I try that?
oh dear.
Here we go. So.
You need a website.
Why not bloody adverts?
With Wix,
go away.
Create your own professional website.
So here we go. Oh, it's not loud enough.
Oh, I mean, it just sounds like static so far.
How are you feeling?
Alright, yeah.
Did you feel any movements down below?
I got really, no, I mean, I feel a bit gassy, but I'm not sure if that's the, just the jerky that's causing that.
Actually, can I have a piece?
Yeah, yeah.
I haven't even tried this yet. I must admit, like, my stomach, my lower is feeling a bit strange.
If I shit myself, have I got to clean it up? Because technically you're responsible for this.
Let's see.
Ooh. No, I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but my belly just feels a little bit.
Yeah, mine's feeling a bit weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, just feel a little bit like I'm not quite in control.
Was it David Lynch who had a film where he there was a tone that he had in there that's supposed to induce nausea?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, was it in Eraserhead or something?
Not sure.
So listener, I don't know how you're feeling, or whether this is having any sort of effect on you.
Yeah, if you have shit yourself, we're sorry.
We're really sorry.
We're really sorry. I mean, maybe it's. I mean, I've got quite a strong stomach usually for these sort of things, but
yeah. But you get where I'm coming from, don't you? Like Charles Xavier's, that effect where this. You're not able to,
it's putting you into something that you have no control over. It's just an involuntary.
In fact, it's making it hard for me to talk.
Yeah, this is it. Again, is this psychosomatic or is this actually?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm still eating the jerky, which is probably ill-advised. It's good.
Anyway, I think we get the point anyway. So, so there you go, folks. So you can either gorge yourself big time on
a bit of gas just came out
on as much food as you possibly could, as though it's your last.
It's okay, listeners. It was dry.
And or you can get yourself some pulled meat. And if you don't have any of those Wolverine claws, why not you sellotape some knives to your fingers or what have you and recreate it. But yeah, and try out a bit of brown noise or something else.
Yeah.
So shall we move on?
Yeah, let's do it.
It is happening again. It is happening again.
How do, Pablo here with another of my cupboard casts, where basically I like to sneak into a celebrity's house, camp out in their cupboard, have a little nose about, watch them about the business, and essentially just record the details, audio, file-wise, and put it into kind of a mini podcast attached to the main show. Today I am in the cupboard of Sir Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, a little bachelor pad they have, which I've been reliably informed I like to frequent from time to time. Now, legends that they are, lovies that they are, I will say, as I came in, there were a couple of chaps, seemed to be alive, but tied to chairs, burlap sacks over their head. I managed to sneak by without them noticing, so luckily no problems there. Just sneaked up in the cupboard, but it's a little bit peculiar. Here we go, bit of action. Here's Sir Ian, Patrick, laughing like maniacs. This is some quite haughty laughter. Taking off the sacks of that. That's James McAvoy. Oh, that's Michael Fassbender. Fassbender and McAvoy, also known as playing the Magneto and Xavier roles that are also famous from Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. There's a bit of crying. Patrick Stewart grabbing Ian's doing the same, grabbing the top of the head. Be a bit more quiet. It seems that Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen are lizard people. Mike was right. Oh, now they're slowly descending on Fassbender and McAvoy. Oh, over their heads, sickening crack. Oh, I mean, it's intriguing to watch, and obviously proves some sort of weird lizard people are behind, I don't know, thespians in general, but reminds me of Scarfolk Council. Their book Discovering Scarfolk is available. They're also out and about on the Twitterverse as well as Facebook. Just look up Scarfolk. That's SCAR as in Scar, and Folk FOLK as in, just people and that. And with Scarfolk, basically it's a northern English town, kind of stuck in the 70s and heavily influenced by public information films from the government and the like back in those days, but with a slight twist of the sinister variety. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. They're slowly moving down the torsos of Fassbender and McAvoy. Yeah, they're dead. Now from what I know of reptilian eating habits, this may take a while, so check out Discovering Scarfolk, available in hardback and possibly paperback, although you might have to do a bit of research yourself on that one. I'll be here for a little while, so signing off. See you later. Bye.
Okay, so we now have a listener joining us, as per usual, to play a bit of a game. And so Sam, are you there?
I am here. Hello.
Hi there, Sam. You okay?
Hi, Adam. Yeah, fine, thanks. And you?
Good. I'm all right. Me and Johnny have just been trying to induce sharting whilst eating beef jerky, so we're both feeling a little bit peculiar. But,
I don't feel right at all.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. Yeah, I don't know if there's any science to back that brown note thing up.
Brown note.
What? Yeah, but
I do feel a bit like I'm on the verge of incontinence. Incontinence. Yeah. The age.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we've invited you on to play a bit of a game, and this episode, I don't know if Adam's briefed you, but we're dealing with the topic of age and aging, films about people aging in films. Does that make sense?
Old age. We're dealing with old age.
It does.
Yeah.
Adam has said nothing, but
you're assuming that I've done any preparation for sure.
But Adam was just sharing with us his concept of a bucket list or a final meal that you might have before when you come to the end of the road.
Yeah,
and you're about to depart, shall we say? And Adam's sort of reference was to sort of people on death row, but so something you could consider it like if you had a bit of a bucket list of things you wanted to achieve. Would there be anything on there that you might want to eat? Anything, and you could be as adventurous as you wanted.
Yeah, final meal. I mean, it could be something that you've never tried before, or just an old favourite that you'd want to taste one more time before you kick it.
Or a combination of things you've never tried. Some sort of sauce you wouldn't usually put on something.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to go old favourite. I think I'd go for my mum's roast beef Sunday lunch.
Ooh, that old classic.
That's a fine meal.
You see, I'm not that bothered about my mum's cooking, so I never really sympathise on that one. Sympathise.
What choice of meat would you go for on that?
I'd have to be roast beef, roast parsnips, roast potatoes, mashed potatoes, carrots, peas, broccoli,
and
maybe
Yorkshire puddings,
sprouts,
butter gravy,
Yorkshire puddings, bit of horseradish sauce.
I'm not a massive fan of horseradish sauce, but I'm with you for the most part on that. That sounds pretty.
No, just a touch.
You know what?
This and then a trifle for pudding.
Ooh, we've even got pudding on there.
Oh, I do like a trifle.
Yeah,
not to be confused with blancmange, as I once did.
We would
don't know why.
Yeah,
it's another story.
That's another story for another podcast episode.
But Sunday roast, you can't really beat it, I suppose. Yeah. I think I was thinking there's an eatery in Leeds called Huckleberries that does something called the Burger Apocalypse, which is the most ridiculous sized burger. I always thought doing something like that would be a good way to go out in style.
It's kind of man versus food challenges,
yeah, but it'd probably kill you, I think, at that.
Yeah, but if you're going out, you're going out, aren't you?
Yeah,
it's made go out in a blaze of glory better than to burn out than to fade away and all that jazz.
But yeah, anything beef related is probably.
To go out with the meat sweats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Come on,
Give me more cheese on my meat. That's what I'd ask for. But yeah.
No, it is an interesting thing to consider, you know.
Yeah, I think it says a little bit about a person as well. You know, the kind of person. Yeah.
Yeah, so values, you know, what you
yeah.
value. You know, you've talked about, you know, family, nostalgia, all that kind of
cheese
stuff.
All the things that people value.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Sam. It's
cheers, mate.
Yeah, enlightening.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so like our previous victims, you're not going to get away that quickly, and we've got a bit of a game for you to play, and this one's called Old Man or Old Man.
Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man? Is it an old man or is it an old man?
Okay, so with this one, it's basically at the start of this podcast, I got a little bit confused with the concept. Adam said something about old people aging. When he said old, I thought he meant old man. I thought he meant Gary Oldman. So I was all set to do a Gary Oldman themed episode. Egg on my face.
It's not the first time we've had confusions of this nature, but you know, you live and learn, don't you?
Yeah, but you know, so I'm going to try and use this game idea anyway. So I've said, you know, old man or old man, and basically what I'm going to do, you're going to take turns, and I'm going to shout out. Well, not shout out. I'm going to say names of characters, and you need to tell me whether you think it's old man or old man, as in, is it a character Gary Oldman has played, or is it just an old man's name that I'm just throwing out there?
Cool.
So you'll have to shout out old man or old man.
Does that make sense?
In fact, actually, I'm not going to take turns. I'm going to let you. Oh no, actually, no.
Yell out.
Hang on. Will that be hard to do? Just yelling out?
Or just yell out our names.
Yeah, sod it. I'll tell you what. Be the first one to yell out either old man or old man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so...
Sorry, I'm still eating jerky. That's probably a bad time to take a bite of jerky.
So, and you can get an extra point if you know which film, if it is an actual Gary Oldman, which film it's from. You could get a bonus point if you wanted to.
Cool, let's do this.
So, okay. First one, Wilfred Hogan.
Old man.
Was that Old Man or Old Man?
Gary Oldman.
It was Gary Oldman, was it?
I think so. It sounds filmy, charactery, but I couldn't tell you what film.
Well, I'm afraid you've been deceived.
Who was it? Was it just
It was just an old man's name.
Just an old man's name.
Just an old man's name.
Yeah.
So, nil point across the board.
Foiled again.
Should we get minus points for... No, actually, just making it too complicated. Okay, next one. Norman Stansfield.
Gary Oldman.
You're supposed to say old man or old man, but...
Well, yeah, but I feel like they sound too similar. Oldman, Gary Oldman.
So Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, it was. Do you know which film it's from?
What was his name again?
Norman Stansfield.
Norman Stansfield.
You don't know. No. Fuck you then.
What was
it? It's from Leon the Professional.
All right. Yeah.
So 1 point to Adam.
Yeah, Sammy boy.
Okay. So next one, George Smiley.
Oh, that's Gary Oldman.
Oldham.
I didn't get old man or old man there.
Oldman.
Sam, it sounded like you said Oldham. Was that old man or Oldham? I'm going to ignore Adam.
Oldham.
Oldham.
I'm not sure how to.
Not a town in Lancashire.
So what you're saying, Sam? Are you saying it's a
I'm saying Gary Oldman.
You are? Okay, perfect. Yes, it is. Do you know which film it is?
I do not.
It was Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. But
very good film.
But yeah, there you go. You can have 1 point. So remember, old man or old man. So next one, Father Richard Livingstone.
Old man.
Old man.
Oh, Adam just got there, and yes, it is old man. I thought that was a good one. I thought that would get you thinking.
Got there, even with a mouthful of jerky.
Okay, next one. Jack Grimaldi.
Oldham. As in, please. Oh.
Hey?
Gary Oldham.
Oldman.
Jesus.
Yeah, and do you know which film it's from? You're
Nope.
correct. Oh, it's Romeo is Bleeding. So that's 1 point to Sam. So far 2 points each. Here we go. Reverend Arthur Dimmesdale.
I can't remember playing a reverend in anything. I'm going to say old man.
Old man.
Oh, you're both wrong.
Oh.
His character in The Scarlet Letter.
Oh, I've not seen Scarlet Letter.
Neither have I.
Yeah.
Me neither.
That's something we all
Never even heard of it.
Yeah, neither had I till today, by the way. Cyril Shortland.
Gary Oldman.
Afraid you're wrong.
Oh. Sorry, Cyril.
Yep, that's not a Gary Oldman role. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
Fingers on the buzzers, or whatever. Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg.
Gary Oldman, and it's on the what's it called? Sci-fi film. Fifth Element.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You got it. So 2 points for that one there, Adam. Very
You're
good.
so proud of yourself.
I am a little bit proud of myself. I've not won one of these games in a long time.
You
so,
haven't. You're determined.
It's
I
going
can
to be
see
the
it.
first of 2017.
You got that beef jerky dripping out of your mouth.
I have.
Yes. Okay. Arthur Patterson.
Old man.
You are correct, Sam. He is an old man, and not
Can you guess
an
the
old
film?
man.
Can you guess the film? Sam?
Any particular old man or just an old man?
Just some old man.
Oh, it's old man.
I'm sure he exists, but yeah. I could have gone with Arthur Fowler, couldn't I? But anyway. Okay. Igor Korshunov.
Old
Gary
man.
Oldham.
Oh, we've got a mixed answer there. I'm saying old man.
And
Sam's going for Gary Oldman.
Sam, you're correct.
Oh, what's
Do you know which film it's from? For a bonus point?
I do not.
Nope, no problem. It was Air Force One,
Well,
which I have never seen.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I forgot Gary Oldman. For some reason. It's been a lot of years since I've seen it.
And
Yeah.
Okay, Ivan Drago.
Well, old man now. That's Rocky 4. That's Dolph
Yeah, I
Lundgren.
was throwing that one in there just for a laugh. yeah, okay, yeah.
Drago!
Oh shit! So you get? Does that mean you get 2
I get
points?
2 points for that because I even get the film that Ivan Drago
I
was
didn't
in.
think about that one. Sorry, Sam.
Sam, I'm destroying you right now.
Fair enough.
Too different.
Six,
You can-
well,
you can pull
6-4.
this back, you can pull this back,
always
Sam.
pull it back.
What are the scores, Johnny?
So far it is Adam has
6-4.
Sam, you have 4, and there is
Dear.
3 more to go.
Oh god, right, okay.
Okay.
Not to play for.
How long's this podcast?
So we've got Buford Hill.
Gary
Old
Oldman.
man.
Adam's correct.
And it's
Yes, Gary Oldman.
Is that what he was in True Romance? Was that his character in True
No,
Romance?
of course not.
No, that was
That's
Bloody
Drexler.
Dry. Yeah, of course it was.
So you only get 1 point on that one.
What film was that?
It was Nobody's Baby Now.
Oh,
I wonder if that's anything in relation to Nick Cave song. Nobody's Baby Now. Probably wasn't. Okay, Mason Verger.
Gary Oldman.
Yes, do you know
No
what it is?
Yeah, I know the film. Hold on, Mason. Oh, I know the film.
Well, clearly you don't,
No,
because he
God,
would have said
It's
it.
gone out of my head. It's gone out of my head.
Come on, Adam. Time's ticking.
Yep. Did it.
Ah.
Ow. It was Hannibal.
Yes, yeah, God, of course, yeah, it is.
I think
There's
that's
a guy
too
who
late.
gets his face eaten by the pig.
Yep.
Mason Verger.
So, 1 point. And so the final one, Rolf Bedalia.
Old man.
I'm
Gary
afraid-
Oldman.
Rolf is definitely an old man's name.
Yeah, it is actually a Gary Oldman film.
Damn.
Anyone care to guess which film it is?
What's it been trailer recently? I'm struggling to think of Gary Oldman films
I
now.
don't think you'll get this one, to be
Well,
honest.
no, it's a bit
I'd be very
obscure.
surprised if anyone got this one.
You said Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy already, haven't you?
No. Basically, it's from the film Tiptoes, which features Gary Oldman playing a dwarf. It's very bizarre film. Have a look at the trailer. It's weird. It's Matthew McConaughey. It's like a kind of a romance film, and then he invites the woman back to meet his family, and there's Gary Oldman as a dwarf, and they've made him look like a dwarf. It's really weird.
Say what you want about Gary Oldman. He's got range.
Yes.
How did they do it then? Was it visual effects, or did they just like put some shoes on his knees and get him to do that trick?
I strongly advise you watch the trailer on YouTube and make your own mind up over that, because I don't know.
So somebody who's got dwarfism watching that, you must think,
well,
because if you're an actor and you've got dwarfism, or
there is a large cast of actual dwarfs, which is kind of a bit odd, because then you got, but maybe it was a bit of a, they wanted to kind of show that it doesn't matter, taking someone who's well known, and I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just going to shut up. But anyway, so I'm afraid that means Adam's won, and I'm so sorry, Sam.
Yeah.
I feel like I've let myself down. I've let my parents down.
Yeah, well,
I've let you down, Johnny.
You've let your own mother down after
after she cooked you that lovely meal.
Yeah, after she's gone the effort of making you that roast dinner, and you just
shame the family.
But then
you've just shat all over that roast dinner.
A lot of averages. I'd have to win one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So Adam has finally claimed a victory after all these months.
What do I win? Aside from self-respect,
half a packet of beef jerky.
Yeah. Go on, I'll finish that off then.
An MP3 of the brown noise.
Oh, brilliant! I'll let you know how that goes.
I saw there was a bit of pleasure in your eyes as things were starting. Anyway. So, thanks for coming on, Sam. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and
you're very welcome. It's been lots of fun.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks. Glad you've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and we'll send you a little something in the post anyway.
Yeah, no one leaves empty-handed.
So yes, send you a picture or something.
I'm still waiting for my birthday present from Adam. So.
Oh, are you?
I'll leave another present in the post when I see you.
You've got a signed photo on its way, Sam. I'll just a picture of me spread out on a 4-poster bed.
I'm so sorry that you have to be friends with this guy, Sam.
Classic. It's going to be classically done. It's going to be pretty artistic.
You say friends. That's quite a general, loose term.
Yeah,
acquaintances would be more accurate.
Very loose acquaintance.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried changing my number to get away, but
you can never get away.
Finding me?
You can never get away.
Yeah. Move countries quietly.
I'm like an awkward rash.
Or I could just unsubscribe.
Yeah, you could just unsubscribe.
No, don't do that.
Promoting that.
No.
Last time you come on this show.
and like Sam, you can subscribe too, listener. On iTunes, or SoundCloud, or any of those.
Stitcher.
Yes, Stitcher.
Yeah.
So I was thought it was in there while we're on the
get a bit of promotion in there. Thanks, Sam. Thanks for
But we'll bid you adieu. We'll let you get off, and
we'll bid you adieu. All right, mate.
Thank you very much. Talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Right, well, we're here once again. This segment, we're going to invite Pablo on for another film not to eat food by. So, Pablo, are you there? Hello, Pablo.
How do?
Yeah, all right, mate.
Hi, mate.
Well, I've generally been out and about, considering what I can do with upcoming Mother's Day, at least in the UK. I'm not. I believe it's different in America and around the world. But yeah, I've just been going out, just trying to find a new mum that I kind of think will be a good mother to me, so I can kind of put her in a rocking chair in the attic and mummify her, and I can get her to kind of give commands. For my general, nocturnal activities.
Yes, taking a Norman Bates approach then.
Well, I'm taking the Mother's Day literally. That it's not a day for mothers. It's a day to get a mother.
Oh, so right. So take a mother. Yeah. Okay.
Right. I'm with you. Yeah.
I ain't nothing but a mother lover.
Yeah. Love them mothers. Well, no, I wish you all the best of luck in finding. Have you got one yet, or is it?
Well, I've just been doing general research, but come the day,
profiling.
Well, I saw a woman down the shops the other week who looked reminiscent of a Claire Rayner, the famed agony aunt, and I think that'll be acceptable. And quite interesting. I've never mummified a fat person before, so quite interesting to try.
Well, got to try things. Got to try something.
You've got to push yourself. You've got to try and expand your talents.
Okay. Well, for anyone who's not listened to this podcast before, you might be a little confused, but basically Pablo is a bit of a vigilante. Pablo, do you want to just quickly set up your role in society, or?
Generally, I like to think of myself as a more of a positive Bundy type character. So it's the skunk pussies, the street trash, just the general drugs of society. I like to pick off one by one. And I've generally found over the years that, honestly, if you're a little bit careful, nobody pays you that much mind. So,
you're necessary evil.
Yeah,
it's part of my civic duty. It's like what do you call it, badger baiting.
Yeah.
People don't like it, but at the end of the day, if those badgers go wild, it'll be a TB frenzy, and nobody wants that.
Nope, certainly not. But and obviously we've invited you on to share us another gore recommendation or film of such ilk. So do you want to hit us with it?
If you're gonna spew into this.
Yes, indeed. As on topic, I've chosen the 1980 Mother's Day. Not to be confused with, I believe there's some sort of romantic vehicle made more recently called Mother's Day, and also a remake of this film.
I was going to say, didn't they do a remake, sort of early 2000-ish, something like that?
Yes. Now, as I say, with this Mother's Day being 1980 and vaguely connected to the Troma universe, it being Charles Kaufman, brother of Lloyd Kaufman of the Troma dynasty. But with it being that, it's kind of borderline tongue-in-cheek, but not to the extreme of your Toxic Avengers and your Castle Nukem Highs and things like that. It's a straight-up 80s slasher, quite low on the slash, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Well, there's a few people having wheeze and stuff like that. But
that's what I thought you were talking about at first, actually. But,
no, it's. I was very pleased on the initial outing because I do like to have gore within 5 minutes. That's always a good sign in my book, or at least it soothes my savage beast. And this one pays dividends. No, not sexual, more my id.
Therapeutic kind of.
Yeah. Just stops us killing people, Johnny and Adam. That's
keeps the wolf at bay.
That's it. Keeps that door closed for that wolf who is at that door. Extrained metaphors.
Yes.
With it being like an 80s slasher film, there is a kind of heavy onus on kind of like sexual violence and implied sexual violence. There's basically three women who went to university together, and it's however many years later. I think it's only about 6 years. In when the film was released, 1980 to I think it was 1974 that they were in the university. Not that matters. It's strangest details.
Yes.
Yes, but they like to meet up every year and have a camping trip. And they kind of establish the characters as one is like a girl who keeps getting hard done by men. The other is basically like a carer for her very abusive and ill mother.
Yeah.
And the other one is like a strong woman, empowered, and kind of was a bit of the leader of the group. But there's a kind of an insinuation at the start. You're first introduced to this character in adult life as like kind of the society party queen. She's holding like an industry party with swimming pools, cocktails, and all that sort of stuff. So there's an implication that there may be a degree of falsehood to her.
Right. Yeah.
To
empowerment.
That is played out in the film. But yeah, you get a bit of gore in the first 5 minutes, and it's a good stab at gore.
Yeah. What do we see? Is it someone getting garroted, or are we talking? Or should we leave it as a surprise for anyone who might want to watch it?
I would say leave it as a surprise.
Okay. Yeah.
because it's one of the only good bits of the film.
Okay.
To be fair, not to give too much away of my own opinion. But yeah, essentially you've got it's what I like to call a bloody bookend. You've got a bit of blood and gore at the start, a bit of blood and gore at the end, and in between you've just got boring cliche text. How to do a slash film. There's not that much in between aside from as I say there is a bit of sexual violence.
Yeah, I got the sense that it seemed a little bit like particularly sort of post the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Hills Have Eyes.
Looked a bit rapey.
Yeah, a little bit more rapey than
and as I said earlier, I mean, obviously it's got a connection to the Troma universe, and I very much like Troma films, as I believe you gents do.
Yeah.
But I think what the kind of like schlocky, kind of like horror comedy that they have is well served, and they obviously had the kind of like marketing Z-list movies or whatever you would call it. But I say with this, it's to our standards, it would seem quite outdated. It's one of these films that there's certain subject matters that it gets to a certain point in time where they may not be as palatable as they may well have been.
Yeah, it looked like it dealt. Yeah, when you talk, talking on the lines of Mother's Day and finding a mother. Yes, it looked like it was a lot to do with a mother and her relationship with her offspring. Should we say? Is that?
Yes, I mean I've completely missed the main core of the film, which is these three girls, whilst they're on a camping trip, get taken in, kidnapped by two burly gents who are backwoods gentlemen who live at home with their matriarchal, quite sinister mother in a neck brace, who has them in her thrall, so to speak. She makes talk of Queenie, her former her sister, who believed dead, but not by mother. She's seen her out in the woods, and you get the impression that she's maybe not real, and it's just something that she uses to keep the boys in check.
Like a bogeyman.
You never know
when Queenie's going to get you.
That's it. And I mean, I won't say how it's used, but there is a very interesting use of an inflatable breast pillow to dispatch somebody in this film. I didn't even know such a thing existed. But
what is that exactly?
Yeah,
what is that?
I need more information on this.
Is that to support at night? And
well, if you imagine a bust, like a bust of a pair of bazooms, front section, and just have that made out of see-through kind of like lilo material.
Okay.
And I think it's I don't know if the intention is if just to be a pillow, or I don't know what function it serves outside of
flotation aid.
I mean, everyone needs a bosom for a pillow, don't they? So
if a corner shop taught us anything, it's
so that's it. Maybe they were big fans of this film.
Of course.
Influence.
Yeah. Might have to.
I think we've cracked it.
Yeah, might have to read through those lyrics and see if there's any sort of relation with this film, maybe.
But as I say, all in all, it's an interesting film. It has its kind of points within history. Obviously, it's very much in the B-movie genre of your driller killers and other films like banned for release, etc. But a lot of the time, it's often I find with those, it's either because they're not very good, or often the studio pulls them because it's negative to their. If you look at some of the ones that were pulled, they were specifically pulled often to kind of save a studio from a bit of embarrassment, and not really because it was a huge content was obscene.
Yeah, and I suppose they'd probably take more of a risk if it was a good film as well, like not just brutal, but actually had something about it. So, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for instance.
Yes,
whereas if it's a shite, they'd just go, let's not bother.
Well, that's it. And I think as we've seen recently with attendance records and reviews, it often seems to be the case that a lot of films, and often specifically in the horror genre, a lot of the critically applauded films don't do that well at the box office when it comes to your general Jill and Joe public. Whereas your films, which often get quite the barracking from the pundits, get to number one or do very well for quite a continued time. So, you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame, really, because it's quite good. Quite like that idea of some sort of crazy, controlling mother, you know, a la Psycho style. But because I remember seeing years back a really rubbish B movie. I think, what was it called? The Haunted Heart or something, about some guy's mother who's really controlling, and she ends up trying to kill his son's new girlfriend. You know, that old chestnut. But
well, as a conceit,
was pure shite.
Yeah, I think as a conceit, if it's done right, then you know it's gold. I mean, obviously they're you know, technically, although I suppose officially it's not really the case, but as the TV series has shown, that the Psycho obviously being the granddaddy of them all in regards to the controlling mother. And that even went on till beyond her grave.
Yes.
Not that she spent much time in her grave, just sitting in a chair most of the time.
Yeah, it's rocking back and forth.
Yeah, but no, well, that's a shame, because I did enjoy watching the trailer for this film when you shared it with us. I thought, looks like I would enjoy that. Actually, that does look like a bit of fun, but
again, just a bit too rapey for my taste.
Well,
there was at least four attempted rapings in a 5-minute trailer,
and there wasn't some guy with a bag on his head or something.
There was a lot of weird shit going on.
I mean, well, the two brothers, Ike and I forget the other brother's name.
Because Ike and Turner. Anyway, let's.
I believe
there's a domestic violence sort of.
We won't go down attention to it.
We'll go down that line.
Up, Adam. Sorry, carry on.
I was just going to say the two brothers. They're kind of obviously they're cut from the same cloth, but one of them likes punk music.
Oh right.
And it's very briefly mentioned, but I believe the other one is into disco. But the fellow likes the punk music. He was the one who was being derided more often. As I say, I think it was mentioned once that the other brother was into disco, but that's kind of the separation. That's kind of like an example of what's seen as character development or like some sort of plot. That all right, you like disco, you like punk. Get on with it. That's your dynamic.
I like the character development. There's potentially a bit of friction between the two brothers there. You know, one's a punk rocker, the other one's, you know, John Travolta want to be. It's they're going to get along.
They've put a lot of thought into that.
Yeah, I like
you're a mod. You're a rocker. You're at Brighton Beach. Get on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, well. So on a gore rating, what would you? Where would you position this? Assuming not too high up the scale, but
no. Well, I'm going to give it 1.5 Ajax throats out of 5.
Okay, Ajax floats.
Oh no, Ajax throats. Somebody is
Ajax
dispatched. Well, not dispatched, but it's part of an ongoing method of trying to kill somebody where some, I believe it's Ajax, some sort of Drano type cleaner is pulled down the throat. And they gargle.
Want to clear my throat then.
That's it. Yeah, it's but I'd say it's top and tail. That's in the last 5 minutes. So you know, if you know, I suppose it's interesting. But yeah, 1.5. It's not really worth a watch.
It's disappointing because, like you said earlier, we're both we're all big fans of Troma Productions. So yeah, I was kind of hopeful for this one on the basis of the trailer that we saw, but yeah, never mind. We should do an episode, a Troma episode.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah,
actually.
I think there'd be enough for us to go at anyway. Certainly.
Yeah,
a few obscure ones in there as well. A few hidden gems.
I will write that one down. Let's add that to the list of theme suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as alluded to earlier, I think there was a remake of sorts in 2010, but I believe, was partly the problem with this one is that if it had gone for more broad farce, it probably would have done better than it was. There was a remake in 2010, which it was 100% for serious, and I don't think that was as good, much the same kind of like a good attempt, but ultimately kind of missed the mark.
Oh well. Eek. Well, do you have any other recommendations? Something that you'd recommend as a definite one someone should check out? Or,
well, I think a superb film which is out of the theatres at the minute, which I think, hopefully still out of the theatres. Often they're quite ruthless with these smaller films. But Alice Lowe has got a film out called Prevenge.
Prevenge, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about a pregnant lady who is or believes that her fetus is speaking to her and making her kill people. And she basically goes on a killing spree. And I can't remember the specific name of the last film that she was in. I think she wrote with possibly a partner. All about them going about the countryside and killing people. Completely forget. But Alice Lowe, you might know her from the Garth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Yeah. I used to love that.
Yeah,
yeah, great. Yeah,
fantastic.
And it turns out over the last few years that she's worked on I say 2 films specifically, but they've both been superb. And also if just a random non sequitur, if you have downloaded the Shudder app or are using the Shudder app, Alice Lowe is currently the guest picker. So she's picked a list of horror films on Shudder.com, which is interesting. Obviously, a guest curator.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, no, I haven't checked out Shudder yet. Are you being endorsed currently by Shudder, Pablo, or is that I'm only kidding.
Just get loads of free.
Hang on, what's that on your T-shirt? Shudder.
Is anybody calling me? I'm shuddering.
You've sold out, man. You've sold out. It used to be cool.
Hey, I'm cheap. I'm easy. I'm not proud. I am not proud. Seek me out, just give me money. Anything, just give us some money and I'll do what you say.
I mean, it would be good publicity for Shudder to sort of endorse serial killers and vigilantes. Whenever a killing is made, leave a little calling card. With Shudder.com at the bottom.
This murder's been sponsored by Shudder.
Yeah, exactly.
Like this and see more in Shudder.com. Yeah.
It's an untapped vein, or admittedly, it's quite a risky niche. But if they can establish it, it's all about the Benjamins.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'd be an awkward marketing meeting really to have, but if you've got a company that's prepared to be brave enough, then why not?
I wonder if they'd
why
be
the
open
hell
to
not?
it.
Exactly.
Maybe drop them an email or just wait for them outside their wherever they work.
Yeah, I'm sure you can be persuasive.
Yeah,
I'll have to find some sort of internet cafe and reroute via different satellites and things like that. To be fair, internet's not really my bag. I'll have to get somebody in and then kill them. So it's too much work.
Okay.
Yeah, well, fair dues. So the search continues for your mother, does it, tonight? Are you?
Yeah. I'm looking for a big cuddly woman that I can eventually emaciate into a withered, bony corpse.
It's beautiful in its own way, Pablo. But yeah.
That's touching story.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch
it. Yeah, no.
I'm not a monster.
Not a pervert.
No, that does remind me. I do have to get the old Mother's Day card and all that, and I need to remember that. So thanks for the reminder.
Hey, that's all right. It's what I'm here for. That and cleansing the planet from dirt, street trash, skunk pussies, the lowest of the low scum.
Yes, indeedy. All right. Well, thanks for sharing those with us, and we'll let you get back to your evening.
Is that you, Mother? Is that you? I've got to go, lads. I think that's kind of this.
Godspeed.
Bye, Pablo.
Bye.
Bye.
So we're coming to the end of this old age themed episode.
Yeah.
And coming to the end of this packet of beef jerky as well.
Yeah, it's me, you, and old Texas Joe over here.
Texas Joe's. We hope you've enjoyed this episode. That you found it invigorating, that you found it, thought-provoking, that it's made you think about, planning ahead, to that
think
day
about the future.
Where you will, go on and leave this world.
Yeah. Which,
shuffle off this mortal coil.
One of those few things in life that is certain.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of fun things to do in the meantime. Funk.
A lot of fun.
A lot
things.
of funky things to do before that happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of good things to eat.
Yeah.
Good films to watch. Good things to eat.
Indeed, and that's what life is about, and that's what we're about, and the whole premise of this podcast. Wow.
Yeah.
That was like a moment of enlightenment, wasn't it?
It's all come full circle.
Yeah. But
it's a circle of life.
But if you've got any film and food recommendations that you'd like to share with us, visit us at foodtowatchfilmsby.com and use our contact us page. Get in touch on Twitter at FTWFB podcast. You can find us on Facebook, or many other mediums. Telepathy. Yeah. The dark web. Pablo's out there as well. You can
telekinesis.
Yep.
Use some sort of Professor X's sort of abilities to find us. And once again, if you did shit your pants earlier, we apologise.
We're really sorry.
We'll probably put a disclaimer at the start of the show just so you can pause. But if it did happen to you, although that is hilarious. We hope it wasn't too embarrassing, like you weren't on the tube or something like that. It just all let loose.
Yeah, and if you're currently, trying to trickle it out the bottom of your pant leg on a busy, crowded station, I apologise profusely.
But get cleaned up and don't let it put you off listening to us next episode.
Yeah, and and subscribe to us on iTunes if you would. Leave us a review would be brilliant. It's all we ask for. We enjoy making this. We'd like to continue making it, and we'd appreciate your help to grow our listenership as well. So share an episode. Tell a friend.
Pimp us out. We're not ashamed to be pimped out.
Yeah,
and it's
Anyway, on that note, we'll see you another time.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.